Okay, we are live in the direct on the TruMon show with the great, honorable, the man that I for sure look up to a lot. It's Arthur Christian. Greetings, Arthur. Yeah. So tonight we're together again, Arthur, to explore or maybe explore that topic of super intelligence. I think we have a lot to talk about when it comes to super intelligence. It's manifesting all around us, definitely. Now, my question to you is, can we match that level of super intelligence that we see around us, like creational science stuff? Like, I'm talking about, like, even the seeds of an apple that give an apple tree is all like creational stuff,
It's
creational
incredible, isn't it?
science.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. It's amazing. The whole thing of
It's just,
nature is so amazing.
I
So
just celebrate it, mate. Just
yeah,
celebrate it. It's just incredible what we are part of. You know what we are. You know, amazing.
can we match this? Like I'm saying, like not in a muggle state of,
Well,
not in
of
our
course we can.
default state, but in our
Of course.
highest self. Can
It's
we
well, I mean,
match that
with me,
intelligence?
I don't get into higher selves and lower selves and
Okay,
this dimensions and that because that's all to me. It's all bullshit. I mean,
okay.
it's all made up, man made. That's just fictions. And I mean,
Best
hello,
version
hi.
of ourselves. Then
I mean, just hello, higher self. Please come forward. Can I talk to you, please? No, I don't want to talk to lower self. I want to talk to higher self. Are you present
yeah.
amongst us? Can we have a conversation with you? Hello, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, third dimension. Hello, please come forward, talk to us. Anyone there? I don't want to talk to a man talking on behalf of third dimension, fourth dimension, or higher self. I want to talk to higher self. I want to talk to this is where I just write it all up because you got to sense the intentions behind anyone. I know your intentions. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
them, and I know your sincerity, your purity of intention. So it's not an issue. But we do get confused about these constructs and concepts, believing they are to be true. It is all utter bullshit. Utter bullshit.
Or
Right?
maybe a better version of yourself, or the best
Exactly.
version of
Well,
yourself.
it's the unforgotten version of who we really are. We are in a forgotten state of our own dreaming, manipulated by the generations of our ancestors since the seduction into fiction began. So the gradualism of what we were connected to, that super intelligence that you're talking about returning to, is still here now. It's never left us because it's life itself. It is life. However, you say, can we get back there? And I say, easily. However, we have to become really conscious of what we're thinking, what we're feeling. Because going back through these super intelligence videos that you and I have been making, and the ones that I did on my own, the Ulysses Remedy ones, and the ones we did with Fiona, that series, and I'll put the links in on the Love for Life website and a few other places in YouTube, and so people can see them all. Those who want to journey these areas, so we don't have to repeat all the different themes we've already covered. But to me, this explanation, again, they're just analogies. Life is a domain, right? It's like a big bubble. And the information of life, of that superintelligence, is embodied in that bubble, in that domain. Now, we say we love life. We love life. When we say we love life, we are live in G. G means highest authority, highest power in the constructs of the system of the occults, encoded in the alphabets. We are living in that domain. That domain, you can call it the aura. They're all the same thing. They're just words and words and more words and more words. But the thing is that the dream, if we go back to the perception where, as children, innocent children brought up by nature, undefined, where no one has explained anything about life to us, and we have not experienced all the distorted feelings that come with all the explanations. because behind all those intentions, or behind all these things, is a man-made intention. Everything is intention. So our ancestors, starting by a man who started this a long time ago, created a distortion of fiction, probably didn't even rationalize that that's what the man was doing, you know. And from that, the evolution of explaining a suggestion to someone else to improve a situation that man believed was a better way to look at things, or a better way to go about your creativity and what you're doing with your life. Because we're all creative. We're all supposed to be creative, living things. You know, I'll call it things, but you know, nature reveals the truth about who we are. Everything's creative. Everything's busy in creativity. Everything is in the original dream with a purpose that embodies the whole domain of all that information, that super intelligence that's embodied in it. Now, to look at various windows of this thing, just to go in and out from various windows as we look at this, wherever we project our thinking, our dreaming, we are never able to go outside the domain. We can never get outside of the domain of life, because wherever we're dreaming, we are projecting that domain there too. So as far as we push our imagining through the fictions, for example, about the astronomy and astrology, and you know, looking through telescopes and microscopes and all these things, and going out as far as we want to go with our thinking and exploration, we are there. So we can't get outside of us. We can't escape outside of us or inside of us, because there really is no outside or inside. They're concepts, again, they're all been made up. The living intelligence is us. And everything we are experiencing is the creation of everything that man has created, because man is God. We are truly God. But it's not defined as ownership or a self-glorification. It's not about the self. But to really comprehend this, we have to become, again, selfless, where we're not thinking for my consciousness, my truth, my perception, my this, my that. So please forgive me if I even sort of touch on these something. I don't mean to talk about I, me, my, because that's all fake. There isn't anything like that. We are just in the living creation of life itself. The pulsation of that super intelligence is the sun that shines. It's nature creating abundance. It's us breathing in, breathing out. It's everything breathing in, breathing out. Every living thing doing what they're doing, creating to sustain and embody and empower the dream of life that we call life, that we come into in the body. When parents created us and we enter, we're experiencing life. It's life and life. Now, going back to the domain, the original domain, again, remember, this is an analogy. It's not really a circle. It really isn't a bubble or a domain, but it's just where our focus is, where the attention of our focus is, not only experiencing what it is that's life that we are, that we are part of, that we talk about. We do it in the languages that we talk about, but we're connecting. God, there's so many different windows of this. This domain has never had a beginning. It never started. Life never started. And life will never have an end. It will never, ever end. It never began and it will never end. Only the illusions of the constructs and concepts that man has made up since we fell into fiction, where we get confused and we think that evolution and Earth began and all these things happen. It's all bullshit, because life comes out of life, 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 comes out of life. Man created man, 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 and always in present sense. We are the only ones thinking and feeling everything about life. So as children brought up in nature, undefined, when no one is in our heads trying to put impressions of their intentions inside the domain of our life, inside our aura, that purity is protected and it's respected and it's and all that, because we would never desecrate a child by giving them a concept or a construct for them to dwell on, to think about, because we would be desecrating the children, because that's not their dreams. It's not their life. It's someone else's enforcing that opinion on them, on us, on each other. So even though you and I may talk about these videos, this is not about trying to tell you what the truth is, because I cannot ever tell you who you really are. We've touched on this before. I can only share with you what we are not. And it's easy to route out the fiction. So when we're talking about super intelligence, it is just the intelligence of life itself that we are, that's always existed, that's not heading anywhere. We're not coming from anywhere to it. There's no journey towards it. Whatever. That's all made up. It's already happening. And you'll see that when you look at nature, it's already providing everything we need. The sun is already shining. We've already got the air to breathe. It's already been taken. Everything's taken care of that way. And that's eternal. It is eternal life.
It makes a lot of sense. The no beginning, no end to me. It makes a lot of sense. I think human as we always been here, like there was not a big bang beginning. Like we always been here on the earth.
Yeah, we never came from the dark ages. We never came out of.
That's it.
All the dinosaurs are all made up.
Yeah.
It was all made up. I mean, there were big mammals.
And when you say you said before the more life, because now man is making, we're making more humans on Earth. Do you think that will lead to more intelligence being shown eventually?
We can't be led to intelligence where something like a mystery and there the truth is revealed to us somehow because we've gone on some journey towards uncovering it. All we are doing is in this case, we are letting go of all the nonsense, all the bullshit, and revealing already what's here, and to stop interfering with life, to start to respect, to start to nurture, to start to protect, and start to empower life and allow every living thing in its original pure form, right? Because the information of, for example, a cricket or a cockroach is passed on from cockroach to cockroach to cockroach to cockroach, from cricket to cricket to cricket. That pure super intelligence of that life, if we do not interfere with it, and do not interfere with everything connected to life itself, because it's all part of it. It's what Fiona was touching on in that last video. It's not about the sun as such. It's about everything that makes up life as a wholeness, and to respect it all. But we have so lost our way, and we're all become hypocrites, and we're all compromised because we are so caught up with fiction, because we were never protected as children. Growing up, we were not given full disclosure of what was being done to us, that we've been Frankensteined, that we've been Frankensteined, that we have been given such a load of bullshit, his story, her story, because they're all constructs and concepts coming at us from other men and women, trying to tell us how to think, how to feel, how to perceive things, how to act, how to behave, all that. All this is nonsense. Everything we need is already built into everything of life itself. It's part of that domain of that super intelligence, that aura, where it's all there, without a beginning, without an end. We're there to just experience life and be the expression of that life, not to corrupt it and distort it and to harm it, which we do all the time by the amount of fiction that we are so caught up in supporting. what we have touched on in another video, using the construct of time as an explanation of this analogy, the time we spend on fiction is the time we are withdrawing from life. And the more we are withdrawing from life, the more we see death, sickness, disease, destruction, harm, chaos, social unrest, and war, and people imposing their will on others, and other people disrespecting, and the damage we have done from this is almost beyond most people's present comprehension.
Oh, yeah.
Just how far. So all the time we spend on fiction, we are now projecting anti-life upon life. We are actually transforming the superintelligence of what we really are into the images of anti-life, of non-superintelligence, of death. And that's the alphabet languages we're talking, because it's dead. It ain't real. And all the constructs and concepts that come out of the alphabets aren't real. Now, you can't, every single one of these concepts, you can't go and talk to it as a first party to first party, right? Hello, ABC, 1, 2, 3, please talk to me. Is there anyone there? Hello, Supreme Court, please talk to me. Is there anyone there? Hello, law. Hello, religion. Hello, Christ. Hello, Jesus. Hello, God. Hello, aliens. Hello, other worlds, other dimensions. Is there anyone there? There isn't anyone there. All that we are being deceived is the illusions, the apparitions, the distorted imagery and scripts that we keep getting lost in as we default by proxy to the scripts that were explained to us as we were younger and growing. But all that collected history, that everything defined to us, is all garbage. Because the present sense is all that exists. And when we are brought up with as connected to that present sense, that superintelligence is at its magnificence. It hasn't been diluted because we've not withdrawn from the superintelligence. We're no longer forgetting who we are, what we are. It's only in the illusions of fiction and these conversations that we have, where all those concepts and constructs of that form time and space and history and whatever we dwell on is this descent into, well, we call it hell, because it's not there's no life there. It's just we're creating life without life in it. So the sickness and disease is just who we've forgotten who we are, and that space of what we've forgotten is now the distortion. And we think it into creation. We feel it and project it on others. So we're encouraging each other to create anti-life. And so what do we have? We have suburbs, motor vehicles, careers, universities, schools, entertainment, television, radio, internet, podcasts, on it goes. And all of this is withdrawing from life. It's dead. There's nothing there. And everything through the court systems, everything through every religion, every holy book. It's this. You won't see holy books. You won't see messiahs and saviors and all that in life. You only see it amongst anti-life. You only see it in the matrix of all the distortion where all these constructs and concepts are coming out of. So mum and dad waking up, I've got to get the kids to school. I've got to go to work. I've got to make jobs. I've got to pay my bills. I've got this. I want to buy that latest toy. I want to buy that latest movie. I want to go to that latest sports show. I want to go and have sex with this latest pornographic queen that I've fallen in love with. And it goes on and on and on, this garbage. But all of it, from how we're feeling and thinking, is anti-life. And that anti-life is us withdrawing from life as we are busy with anti-life. We are just asleep, gone, unconscious. We don't know what the real superintelligence is because that's all misplaced.
And would you say that the fact that we have forgotten all this, like the fact that we're in a deep rest and depression, like majority of humanity, majority of the people you're gonna meet in life, you're gonna encounter, are in a deep rest and are depressed. And that's a fact.
Yeah. And
Okay,
that is
whether you
all.
want to face it or not, they want to face it or not because they are not being creative. And what is the essence of super intelligence is creativity.
Yeah, because it's misguided creativity. I mean, all of anti-life is misguided creativity. It's a distortion of creativity where we're busy in action, withdrawing from life and setting an example for others to withdraw from life. So all the symptoms of this is not, you see, when we talk about the virtues of the good heart, they are all the natural feelings of life and the exuberance of life, the pulsation of life. And from our creativity that's inspired through, as we're brought up by those sensations of life, there is no loneliness, there is no repression, there is no depression. You get that? There is no recession. There's no money because there's nothing. It's all fiction. It's just imaginary. So we are imagining our death instant by instant as we focus on the constructs and concepts of anti-life, which makes us we become comatose. We're like we're putting our bodies into a sarcophagi and burying ourselves as what was living now dead in a sarcophagus. And we've created civilizations like this. We've dreamt them into this. And then we get so deceived thinking, oh, these great civilizations have these wonderful mysteries to tell us about. It got nothing because fiction has no super intelligence in it. Nothing. All the pyramids have nothing. Nothing. All the free energy stuff, nothing. It is just the fantasies, where the repressions, where the depressions, where all these distorted emotions, where the anger and the greed and the jealousy and the covetousness, the apathy, the denial, the ignorance, the ridicule and the abuse. And it goes on, and there's so many of this, enmity, jealousy, covetousness. It goes on. These are all the symptoms of anti-life. They are the symptoms of our creativity where we are withdrawing from life. So various aspects of life have been forgotten. And so what has now been forgotten are the distortions in place now that we are carrying out. And we play out these distortions with each other through anger, through power and control trips, through blame, through victimization, through incarceration, through persecution. Because these are all without the good heart. Because the superintelligence is the good heart, and all the virtues of the good heart is the superintelligence, and the whole of life is that. And that's what we are. Can we return to that? Yes. Can we restore it in this life? Yes. But you've got to unthink and stop feeling and giving energy to all the anti-life to do that. So when we say we love life, we're saying we are fully responsible for what we love, because what we love is a dream that we have created, the real ones, like children. And we're present to them, like the sun shining to them. And we act out all the virtues, the good heart to our children. We don't own them. We're not their bosses. We're just wisdom keepers. We're inspiration, a source of just pure superintelligence of life, living life, being the example for children to see that. Now, we can restore this, but are we willing to walk away from anti-life? Are we willing to give up the destructive emotions and don't play them out in our own life, in our own domain, and then play it out with other people trying to penetrate into their domain to infect them with this anti-life as well, which is what we do through television and Hollywood and media and through anger and jealousy and all the relationships we create. Imagine every relationship. We're merging all the anti-life into the anti-life, going from one domain, penetrating it to put the poison of anti-life into the domain. We've done it to our kids. We've done it to our lives. We've done it to our partners. Our parents have done it to us. All our wider families have all done it to us as we've done it to them. and to all spread out through all the wider community. We've done it all to each other. And everything that's going, what we can call wrong, is the anti-life that we are experiencing because it's in our image. We're creating it. If you want to change it, stop creating, stop putting our energy into that. It's like what we talked about years ago about the yellow brick road. And how we are thinking, what we are feeling, what we're focusing on are the pavers we lay down before us as we walk upon them. Meaning what we're putting out there is coming back at us in our image and we're experiencing it. So as a collective, while I promote anti-life with an intention to distort and harm, if that's what was my intention, another man and a woman and child and God knows how many more will be affected by what I'm putting into the domain of life itself. Because of their domain, imagine, we talk about water, you're holding a whole lot of water in the palm of your hand, and all that water, each one is a little droplet. And each one's a domain. Each one's a soul, a life. And we're meant to protect and respect that uniqueness and originality, not to desecrate or try to penetrate distortion of anti-life. Going from one domain, penetrating into it, like having sex and trying to create children through lust and loneliness and emptiness and needing more government handouts. I'll create more children to get more government handouts. We don't create children so we can gossip and think that we're good people. That's not the purpose of children. That's anti-life we're creating. That's why we're seeing children going around the age of 11 murdering other kids or people. Because they've got no super intelligence. They're not embodied with it. They've been brought up by all the anti-life. We are all responsible. There's no point sitting there watching television, the latest horror story. We are the horror story, witnessing the horrors of our creation. We're in the experience of the fucking lie that we're all part of. And I use that word fucking because that's how sick it is. It's that bad. And we act like we're nice people. We do not love the domain of life that we are, and we don't love the domain of anyone else's life because we actually hate everything, because we're pushing each other further and further into anti-life, in spite of all our good sentiments and all that stuff we go on about. We are Frankensteins. We're Frankensteins. And there's, we could fill up a library of all the horrors of what we're all doing. You could probably fill up hundreds of libraries of individual situations of what we're doing that's causing immense harm and destruction to life. And we are all complicit in it, all supporting it. I talked about the one pencil, the one pen. You need tens of thousands of slaves, brainwashed blue collars, white collars and that, to do the jobs they've got to do so that we can get to the mountain, explore the mountain, rip open the mountain after all the surveying, building the transports and bring in the heavy machinery and all that involved to build the heavy machinery, to go and mine the mountain, to then have roads. And then we have to have roundabouts and pedestrian crossings and street lights. And we need to have banks and bank tellers, and we need to have accountants. And the scale for one pen is beyond most people's present comprehension. And yet we want it. And while we want it, we are supporting this whole hellish world of anti-life. So everything that we are attached to that's anti-life, and we claim that we own it, you need the system of anti-life to protect what you claim that you own, which means you've forgotten who you really are, because your true consciousness lives. And your consciousness, that conscious thing, you would never cross the line to cover and harm somebody else. You never deny someone else to have that space so they can have their dreams and create beautiful dreams, live beautiful dreams amongst the abundance of life. Because that's what we're meant to be. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We still have that super intelligence memories there. We can still connect it. And we can all be aghast at the horrors. And this includes all the natural disasters, the tsunamis, the earthquakes, the lava, the volcanoes, the sweating, the fevers, the floods. It's just, we're creating everything to our experience because we've forgotten who we are. And the creativity of anti-life is all this coming back at us, Yannick. So for me, it's a very intense subject Sometimes I think, God, I'll just go out there and just fucking kill everybody because I'm not killing anyone because they're all dead. They're just machines. They've got no real life. They think that they love their children, but they love all the anti-life of fiction that they bring up their children in, which is what we've done. So I've got to kill me too because I'm a hypocrite.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it live today, and I was thinking of you. And I'm again with my sunglasses. I'm coming back with this, and I have a family on the bike path. They're driving their bike with their children, and like little kids, 6, 7-year-old with big kick-ass sunglasses in his face. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like you even break your. That's why you say you raise your children. You know, you cut the grass under their feet or something like that. Don't know what's the expression, but that's what we do. We raise them literally. Like there's so much anti-life out there, and when you see it, it's hard to not.
It's confusing.
It's confusing. It's very confusing.
Because we are all creative. Life is creativity. We're meant to be like the bees to the hive, the ants to the colony.
Bees and the birds.
To the flock. Be the breeze through the trees. Be the sun that shines and brings light and creates glistening droplets of water on the trees that drop down, and the insects and the creatures and all the what we call the ecosystem. It's all life. It's creativity. We're supposed to be that super intelligence as well. But you have to undo the relationship with fiction to be able to return. Yep. We can't think our way into returning while we're still attached to the fiction and we play out the fiction. This is why the whole alternative lifestyle is a load of bullshit. Look, even most of permaculture is bullshit, even though there's good intentions, because it's all system orientated. People need the system for it to happen. We don't need the system for life to be what it is. If we just stopped everything, nature will start to return. And sure, generations later, we will have a paradise again. Now, if we wake up and work with that super intelligence, we can contribute by our actions, our creativity, in accelerating the return to paradise. Because we know, okay, that's anti-life. Okay, their motor vehicle, that's steel. Okay, let's recycle it. Let's reuse it. But knowing we have to stop harming the mountain. And we put things back so we don't keep munching, as Frankenstein, munching away at life. Because we're eating life. We're killing it. You know, as consumers.
When you put this into perspective, you brought before, you were talking about the crickets. Knowing exactly what to do and everything here,
exactly.
You know, but that's pretty fucking shocking to me, even to say this here tonight. But the crickets and all the insect that goes around on Earth knows more what to do with their life than us.
We have just interfered. We've gotten in their way. And then we
look
try
what
to
we're
alter
eating.
But we've just altered the rocks. We've altered the ground. We've altered them. The crystals. We've altered everything that makes up the earth and everything underneath the earth and everything above the earth in terms of a construct and a concept. We've gone and interfered.
But how did we get there? How did we get there?
Because we got seduced by fiction.
Okay, yeah.
We got seduced by fiction.
Yeah.
And in our early ancestors, including all of us, were never given full disclosure of the consequences by what will happen to our lives and everyone else's life if we give our creative energy to fiction. Because all we're doing is just munching into life. We are consumers. We're materialists. The car, the petrol, the oil has no purpose, but the original, that what we took from you has. And it's connected to the huge collective big picture. And when we're brought up by nature, undefined, we connect with that big super intelligence. We know the big picture. Just as the cricket knows what the big picture is, and the fly and the mosquito, even though we've interfered with the environment that has created problems, and we end up with pestilence or droughts and deserts. Look, it's just... what we've done is just beyond most people's present comprehension. It really is, because we're so busy in the anti-life creativity. We're thinking about the clock and the time. We're thinking about how we're going to impress other people. We're thinking about we've got to get our kids through school. We've got to go to work. We've got to make money. We've got to go sit down and relax because we're all stressed out working as robots and machines of anti-life, that we need some time out. So we'll go to the arenas and join with 100,000 other robots and machines to celebrate some robotic sport. We're clones. You know, if you ever looked at Star Trek and the Borg, ever look at the Borg and the Borg collective, that's exactly the occults and how it works amongst us today. And everyone who's caught up in the fiction is a Borg drone. In a Borg collective, trapped inside cubes of nonsense. And the occultists know the truth of this, and that's why they allow this to play out and why they influence the smart ones who become the film directors and the animators and become the talkers and who come through and talk and create influence over public thinking, because they know. They only know some small parts of it. If they knew the whole thing, they wouldn't do it, because their conscience would be so invigorated, they would never cross the line to use and abuse life. From the tiniest little flea, cockroach, cricket, fly, to birds and eagles and pelicans, to whales. It goes on. We were never meant to interfere. We were never meant to put kids in a classroom so they could be inculcated into the drone collective of the Borg. We're not meant to turn our children into drones by educating them, because that's how we destroy them. That's how we've been destroyed, because our head is spinning with the creativity of anti-life, because we're trained to hold a memory of all this fake knowledge, which doesn't experience. You can't experience this in nature. You can't go anywhere to experience yellow or red or blue. You can't go and experience anywhere that's tall or fat or short or thin, because that's not what life's about.
Okay,
Everything has a purpose.
Okay, when I walk around in this world, I see Walking Dead people. Okay, that's my perspective. Most people I meet are Walking Dead, either with kick-ass sunglasses in your face or whatever. They're in the dark. Okay, now I've heard also that God comes down to have an experience in us, to have our perspective of our experience. But how can that happen when you're Walking Dead, muggle, no magic, no creativity, and what? God comes in you to experience a perspective?
Look, the analogies of God came down as fiction. God never came down. When I talked about that in the other video, that God came as man, I was just using the Christian creation analogy to explain a logic that, you know, God came as man, but God never came down. We never came from anywhere. We're not heading anywhere, nor have we come from anywhere. We already are everything of life. But each of us got to come back to that. But we have to thaw out all the ice crystals in our brains of fiction. We've become so cold to life, and we talk through the coldness, acting as if we're intelligent. And so we become sociopaths and psychopaths. And we become serial murderers. We are the worst because of the materialism and the consumerism and all the rules and regulations and the rituals and the procedures and the contracts and all that has formed the Borg collective to make everyone drones, how they should move left and right, you know, which way we should drive and what side of the road you've got to go. I mean, it is all made up. It doesn't exist. It never had a beginning that way. I'm sorry. Life never had a beginning. The fiction had a beginning because it doesn't exist. It has an end. We are only tricking ourselves by trying to keep propping up the fiction. If we stop giving our energy to the fiction, the streetlights stop working. The power stops happening. The electricity is all gone. Right? The churches no longer operate. There's no more messiahs and saviors being peddled, because all that's left is life itself. And the power of life is in all of us. And there's no greater or less. There's no exclusivity or privilege. There's no who's smarter than someone else who isn't. All this is bullshit. Anyone running around thinking that they're more intelligent or they got the right way is a load of shit. That's why I say I can't tell you who you really are. I can only tell you who you are not and why. So in that way, I don't impose on anybody. I just prick the conscience wherever anyone has anything left to be able to be pricked by, to realize what's happening, what's become of us, how we have each done it. Because we are the only ones in the experiencing of being the drone. We are the ones being cold and carrying out coldness. Why? Because we go to the shop and buy steel. The coldness of the destroying the mountain and all the living things that were there to bring out the iron ore and the copper and the aluminium and the glass. We are cold. We have no true empathy and compassion for the love because we don't live in the dream of life. We think we do. We think we love it, but we don't. We hate life. We are all criminals, all guilty, all of us. When you say you love something, it means you're fully responsible. So when children are allowed to be brought up by nature, they embody everything of what they love. They forget the words now. It's a natural occurrence. The cockroach will never abandon its babies in that way. And the super intelligent, the cockroach, will always be passed on to all the babies in its magnificence. Every living thing is this. Nothing of life is abandoned because they are in the experience of what they say they love. We are the ones who are not. We've gone to such an extent of desecration that we're losing elephants. Like that, elephants are heading towards extinction. Enormous big cats. Living creatures in the water, living creatures outside of the water. Us. What's become of us? Because we don't love life. We lie when we say, I love you. We lie. You can't love your partner when you allow anti-life to be absorbed by your partner and you bring anti-life to your partner. And you say you love your children when you bring anti-life fiction into your children. You don't love your children. You hate them. You truly hate them.
I love this.
Because it's the wake-up call.
I love
this. Is the wake-up call that for thousands of years, people have been waiting for the wake-up call. There's no one to follow. There's no messiahs or saviors or all that kind of shit. Each of us has free will. It means unlimited potential. We can create obliteration of everything of life if we dream it that way, which is what we're doing at the moment. Or we can dream magnificence, where everyone is part of that magnificence and everything of life is cherished and no one goes without anything. It works when we allow the good heart of that super intelligence to inspire us to be busy creatively working from that information. That's when we can do the most extraordinary. And that's what you say, we shine. We shine through the super intelligence of that good heart and all its virtues. That's what makes us what we are. The occultists don't like it. That's why so many of these videos that we make that involves me, they get affected. People do not want to hear the real insights of these things. Because what is happening is we're undermining and threatening the lie that pins the glue, like the glue we talked about in the other video. The glue is the self, the I, the me, the my, where all the memories of anti-life are stored in the fiction that we represent. And that's why the police officer asks for your ID of the story, because that isn't you. You're living in the lie, in the matrix. You are the drone amongst the drones, in a world of drones, including the judges and the politicians and all the priests and the popes. They're all drones themselves because it was done to them. You do not carry out fiction as a creativity without being programmed to do it. You can't be a fiction without the programming. So you need scripts. You need emotional examples. You need to be amongst people who are cold to learn coldness. And they search for the brilliant intellectual people who are cold because then they know they can make the most horrific decisions. and never go against their conscience. And that's what makes them sociopaths and psychopaths. And that's why they call them CEOs and boards of directors and wealthy aristocrats. But it doesn't matter. All the poor are also the same. You dream yourself into poverty because of the programming. You dream your life into arrogance because of the programming. You dream you like to play off and argue with everyone else because of the programming, because there is no super intelligence embodied in it. That's why we work with shovels that got steel. We work with hoes that got steel. These are fictions. Forget all the other stuff, Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. I'm not saying I don't love Elon. I think there's a spark in that man too somewhere.
Oh my God.
There's a spark even in Joe Rogan and all the others. There's a spark there. There's even a spark in Donald Trump. But will they listen? Will they wake up?
Bunch of clowns.
Because the only way that we will return to that superintelligence is to drop the fiction. Drop it. And don't be paranoid and worry about, well, how are we going to communicate? It's already happening. How the hell's all nature? Since when have we taken nature to our public schools and taught an educated nature about life? For heaven's sake, what insane stupidity. It's only the programming of anti-life that forces you into becoming ice and cold, where we think we love, where we hate.
I like you brought up the communication thing also with nature, but also with animals. Like, you don't need words to make yourself understand with animals, and they can sense your vibration. Like, just take dogs, for example. They're very much in tune with human, so they pick up naturally what we want. Like my dog, I just point the couch and she knows she has to go on the couch. I don't have to tell her jump on the couch. I just point because she bugs me always for treat. So I tell her go on the couch, I'll give you a treat. But I don't talk to her often. I just point the couch.
I should bring Missy. You must meet Missy. Missy's a little a cattle dog cross fox terrier.
Okay.
A real concoction, a little small thing. And, she barks at me and tells me there's something going on.
Oh, yeah, they bark.
Most of the times it's because there's another dog barking across the neighborhood of the farms, or because of some other noise, right? But occasionally she will also bark. And like what happened last time, she bolted out through the cat door and bolted to the gate looking over towards the granny flat, because she was telling me something is wrong. And the way she was barking and the intensity of her bark and aggression was telling me, get out of bed. This is like nearly midnight. Get out of bed. We've got a problem here. There's an intruder. No joke. 70 meters away, 80 meters away. She hears this little thing. So I said, Fiona, get up, get out of bed, wake up. Grab the torches. We quickly ran around. There was an intruder trying to break into the granny flat, and you can see where they're peeling away of the mosquito netting, all that fly screen netting.
Yeah.
Now this man, and I said, "Hey, where's my double barrel shotgun? I'm going to go kill this man." And then it bolted, and then we saw a car lights come on at the bottom gate, over 100 meters away. You could see it, and it bolted up the road. Now we found out that the same people have been doing it elsewhere, because the people are getting so desperate, they're now visiting farms, thinking that maybe some farms are empty. So that's Missy. Now, Missy probably tonight will bark 5 or 6 times. Okay, interruption. Take off, whatever I'm doing. Go out, let her put the lights on, get outside. She'll stand, look around. I know it's just a dog she's heard, or someone still got a tractor going at 9 o'clock at night or something, whatever. She'll come back inside. But she will give me that super intelligence too. And she'll tell me, she knows amongst all the other things, if there was another intruder, there's something different about her behavior. So I have to be present to listen to her, not shut her down by scolding her every time she barks. So I have to live with this barking, right? And maybe I've got to work on until she gets to the point where she doesn't need to bark about all the other thing, just the serious one. So I've got to learn how to help her with that. So, you know, what do we got today? People, security companies, alarm monitoring, close monitoring, security gates. Bless my brother, he makes security gates. I love my brother a lot. We are just, mate, we're so lost in fiction that that little gap is all we got. With that super intelligence, you couldn't even. We have to let go. So again, the reason why we're doing the kingdom.
Will there be an intervention of super intelligence one day? I'm not saying a catastrophe, but an intervention.
That love is very powerful.
Or if it's already there.
It's very powerful. It comes as truth. It comes as insights.
Okay.
But how? Okay. I wrestle with.
Okay.
Everyone has free will. And look.
So is that the way that God will?
Let me finish. Let me explain.
Okay, I'll keep my thoughts for after.
No. Just I can only go by the experiences I've had. Right. I had the Creator come to me. It was androgynous. I had various experiences of this. I'm not going to go into and sit there and write books about it and praise it, but I knew through the experiences, and it was androgynous. It wasn't male or female, and the colors and all that is just, I could never paint these colors. It's just incredible, the gold and the white and all that. And I won't go through it because there's another video. You can find all these other experiences if anyone wants to hear about those. What's inspired me to be what I'm doing. And I also had that 2 week sleep that I talked about back in 2012, where I didn't know where I went. But I remember my senses being very heightened when I came back. I had to relearn my balance. I had to relearn to walk. But I noticed that I could read writing on trucks from a kilometre away as I'm driving on the road, and I could hear people's conversations from more than a kilometre away. I could zoom in to listen to them talking as they were walking from more than a kilometre away. It freaked me out. And then I noticed I could start seeing in people's bodies. I could see everything, and I didn't want it. I said, I don't want this responsibility. And I freaked out. I really did. I just, no. And it gradually just went away. All that, it just went away. But it gave me a glimpse, a glimmer. And for me, through all these different epiphanies and other experiences, I realized that we have free will. We really do have free will. And the Creator and the other experiences I had with this Aboriginal man called Guga Dunga, he had a long name. I can't remember the whole name. But this is back in 2006. And then this American Indian, I call him he called himself Running Water. He was what we call a spirit guide, a spirit man. And then they came together. 1, 2, 3. First time Gugadunga, then Running Water. Then they came together over a period of 3 or 4 months on these walks that I was doing, these 2-hour walk. And I was going, well, God, there's no separation. He's a man on the land. He's a spirit man, yet there's no separation. How can this be? It's impossible. This was doing my head in. The reason I'm bringing this sort of stuff up is because I got to realize the uniqueness and the originality of life. I got to sense the perfection of life. And when we undo all the fiction, nothing of the super intelligence will ever come to tell us how we should think, how we should feel, what is right and what is wrong, etc. When that presence of the Creator came, it didn't tell me what I had to do. It didn't tell me how I should think. Same thing with Running Water and Gugadunga and same with other things that I had. No one told me how I should think and feel. Anything comes from the truth. You do not given a smorgasbord of how to think and feel and what's right and what's wrong. If that happens, it's demonic. It really is demonic because it's an invalidation of our uniqueness, originality. We can be inspired. We can be given certain suggestions, to see whether we can use our brain to work it out. But they never come and lay it all out for us because that takes away your free will. And we become a designed man as a drone with the fake front of spirituality and consciousness packages. That's how I see it. So I can't see how the superintelligence would come and just wipe the slate clean on everyone and transform everyone back like that. I don't think that's going to work. In fact, I think people will experience the outcomes of what they've dreamt for. Most people will die and they won't even know that they have died. All the time they're busy in their scripts of fiction, and as their body's deceased, they carry on in that. And once the memories of their names and their photos and all that is gone, forgotten about, they're gone too. They're gone forever.
So,
Only eternal life carries on life. And that's something only each of us have got to come to and embrace that. And that's where the superintelligence communes with us.
so
It's
do
through
you
that.
think there is a representative of the super intelligence on
no,
Earth right now?
Well, there is. It's called a bird. There's a cockroach.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's where I was going to. Maybe if we look into the animal kingdom, yes, we can find many representative of divine. But can
everything's
we
revealing
find
the truth.
any in a human form, according to you?
Everything of the truth is represented. I don't mean
Because
to be
there's a lot
fictional.
of guru out there and stuff. Do you think we can find?
You're going to have to use your senses and have to sense it, because if you default by proxy to fiction, to have it explained to you, it's like a young boy who's been sent to school, who then ends up through high school and then goes to college and then goes to university and has a real interest in working with microscopes and telescopes. And all the years of the fascination to whatever career path that boy is going to become, he has been layered with scripts upon scripts upon scripts upon scripts upon scripts, surrounded and plus adding more fiction to the scripts as he becomes a man with a degree, specializing through big telescopes or big microscopes or whatever. But everything, while that man is looking through light, through the telescope, every single thought in his head is not coming from what he's looking at. It's coming from the background of all that stuff, the programming. So you have to sense. That's why children need to be not disturbed when they're out in nature, when they're playing and they're observing any creature. You don't disturb them, because they're actually feeling everything. And that's the super intelligent. That's the uploading of files.
Yeah.
But it's not really uploading, it's more expanding what's already there. And so the more that we connect with all the information of life, look, the greatest of man, of what you're talking about, would act with silence, would act with hardly anything being said, because they would not desecrate another man and claim consciousness or claim some design pathway through alphabets. And there's many forms of alphabets, including hieroglyphics and secret tongues and ancient tongues and all this other crap. So I think when I continue doing what I'm doing, I think I will end up in silence myself, because I have nothing to say, because I've come to realize I can't rescue anybody. I can't save anybody. I can't change anybody.
Okay, but we can save the world. Maybe all together. Maybe
The
I
world
don't know.
is the
Love
world is
can save the world.
the world is the system. The world is not Earth. It's not life.
Yeah. That's it. The world can be saved. The world can be saved. Fuck that shit. The Earth. That's what I was talking about.
It's only safe because we've become it. We've stopped being the drone. We've stopped being the consumerists and the materialists. We're withdrawing. This is again going back to the kingdom village dream, and why we're waiting to meeting people who can handle the peace and calm responsibility of that life, who can love a dream and be busy creatively, very busy creating a village life, so that we can raise children and great grandchildren can be brought up in it, where everyone knows everyone else's children. The whole village raises the children again, or nomadic tribes raise the children, because everybody knows each other. There are no secrets. Everyone has space. Everyone's happy and joy, because everyone has that dream of life, the freedom to create it. And we don't disturb. We don't interfere. It's all the disturbance.
Interfere. You say it,
Yeah,
interfere.
because a child, as children, observing, when they're observing life,
interfere.
exactly. So
you put fear into them.
As we supposedly appear in the womb, we're already absorbing feelings, sounds,
Interfere.
sensing. You're hearing what you're getting this because we're picking it all up. We don't interfere. That's why paradise is a peace and a calm. It's a true peace and calm because there's no conflict. There's no chaos. The peace and the calm of the mother allowing the baby to blossom in that peace and calm without being disturbed is what makes the superintelligence of man be godlike, the true godlikeness. But when we start defining our children, because we are defined, and that's why I talk about like women, with the whole Semiramis concept, it's the whole thing of the Statue of Liberty I've been talking about, because it's their greatest weapon that cultures have is women. But we are complicit in all of this as well, because we all come from mothers. But to define a woman to what a woman is already destroying the children, as the woman has children appear in the womb and comes out. Because all this Encyclopedia Britannica of scripts is already cluttering and confusing and making us icy. And because we've been subjugated to be compliant, to acquiesce to man-made rules and regulation, rituals, procedures, conditions, contract, all in fiction. And what is good, what is beautiful, what isn't, and what's we have defined the children to such drones through our mothers and through us supporting our mothers and then our partners, because we are those children and we're going to raise children. So collectively, we as man and woman, we are collectively destroying the innocence of that true peace and calm of every child, because they've been taken away. They've been taken away from the real peace and calm of paradise, of life itself, and they've been brought in front of the idiot box, the television, the radio, the rock and roll, the reggae music, the folk music.
Hey, don't talk about my reggae music.
All music. Everything is fiction, classical music. Everything is fiction based. Because it's not information coming from a life form that lives as part of what life is. It comes from the constructs of a man who's made up an idea of music that has no place in nature. We may think it's beautiful when we listen to Mozart or whoever, but it ain't real. It's not a life form we are observing in the creativity of its life. So we are not meant to interfere with children as they're observing life. We let them be, so they can observe the cockroach and the fly and the butterfly. They can go and touch and feel and have tactile things. It's because they can sense everything. And that super intelligence is expanding because all the information is coming through life, as life, not fiction, which shuts us down.
So what about the reality is stranger than fiction? I think it's the opposite. The fiction is really strange.
When we wake up, there is no more reality in fiction. It's just life.
Just life.
It's just life.
There's no reality. There's no fiction.
What we do, we become armed. We become armed with the conscience to not cross the line, to return to fiction and play out fiction in our life or in our life of it.
Yeah. And the reality has to be defined too. Like you say all the time, I can define nothing for you.
Well, that becomes a fiction.
So then it becomes a fiction because you have to define it for me.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's morning, it's evening, it's it's day, it's night, it's 1 o'clock, it's 1 p.m., it's 1 a.m. These are fictions. All the astrology, Aries, Leo, they're all scripts and we breathe it out. We breathe it all out. We put it in. We're penetrating this poison, this toxic desecration into the dream of light. And through the generations, people get used to the idea of astrology, and they think that somehow astrology has a place in everything. It doesn't. It's just the generations and all who breathed it, gave energy to it, that have entrapped in the idea, oh, you're a Leo, or you're an Aries, you're a Taurus, and you got your moon in this house, and you got this rising, and you got those. And look, it's all predetermined, and everything predetermined is fiction. So we can destroy generations by how we are behaving here and now and carrying it out, because the influences of disturbing the peace, of breaking the concentration of children with nature, to get them caught up with listening to a priest on a pulpit or going into some temple, including the Taj Mahal or whatever.
All of them.
We are obliterating the connection to that true super living. It's a living dream, live-in dream, a super intelligence. You can't connect with the super intelligence through the pyramids or the Taj Mahal or any other, or the Great Wall of China. There's nothing in fiction that bears the truth of a life form of super intelligence. But a child who's observing the fly will get it all. Because the fly's relationship to everything else of life, the child also gets all that too.
Okay, but if you have a bigger vision of that big picture you're giving us, how do we not turn this into self-obsession? Because it's easy. At one point, you see yourself awake in a world that's fully asleep and anti-life, and you are for life and stuff, and you're up and in with life, and everybody's down and out. How you not turn this into...
Well, you're just going to create another version of the system. It doesn't matter how it's going to show up. Whether it's power and control trips, whether it's arrogance, ignorance, whether it's greed, and the real greed.
So, is there such thing as waking up?
Only coming out of the fiction does the idea of that work. Because in the real one, we do not disturb children. When we don't let children have to be exposed to motorbikes and chainsaws.
Yeah.
And motor cars, and engines and sounds
from that nightmare.
Because that information, all that distortion is what's created the iciness, where our children say they love life, but they will live in suburbia amongst fiction. Look, it's insane that we come from nature, and we've ended up now in suburbia with a couple pot plants inside our home, and maybe a couple trees outside somewhere. But that's about it.
Yeah.
And a few birds flying around here and there. But did you realize how much desecration, what we've done here? How much we have withdrawn from life? And we water the little pot plants. We try to create little gardens of food on our balconies and apartment blocks. But that's still not going to fix it all. It's a start. You can call it a waking up. But if you're going to fully wake up, you've returned to paradise. You're living amongst brothers and sisters who will not break the peace, who will not disturb children, who will not inculcate anybody, who will not deny the true freedom of everyone. And look, it's easy to tell when someone is affected or infected. Affected, infected. Because the energy of fiction stands out. It has no virtues of the good heart embodied in it. And the narcissism, it's easy to detect narcissism. You've got to really look at the dream and see whether it is self-reflected or whether it is an aspiration. Using fiction, like talking, it's like bringing a torch into the dark caves where everyone's trapped, putting that light on, to share the intention, like I'm doing. I bring that light into the darkness, not for people to come and follow the light, to follow me, to maybe realize, shit, you can also create the life of real life without fiction. You can get out of there if you want to. because it's not your real life. It's not your dream. The idea of experiencing fear is a terrible sickness. It's an incredible malaise. That the experience of doubt, the experience of uncertainty, the experience of complacency and apathy and denial, the experience of all these things from jealousy and covetous, look, there's so many in these destructive emotional patterns. It shows the sickness of the disturbance of where we have removed our life from paradise, from the peace and calm. Because paradise is peace and calm. Right? When they talk about the great man, they talked about a man of peace. The man of peace was in paradise, brought paradise. It wasn't creating a religion, an institution that was culturalized, politicalized, socialized, homogenized, pasteurized, and we call it Judaism, Mohammedanism, Catholicism, etc. It doesn't work like that. It's nature. You see the real one when we start bringing back life amongst us. So we're immersed in life without anyone breaking the peace and the calm. So we will not hijack a child to turn them into a blue-collar, white-collar slave laborer down the line by educating them. We're not going to affect young children so they become icy and cold as grown-ups and be those sociopaths and psychopaths who act as prime ministers and presidents and ministers in government and the media representatives and, experts and all these things. All that ice has been melted. It's all been thawed. And what's left now is the superintelligence of the good heart and working with that only. So there is discipline. There is respect. There is empathy, compassion in all of this too, because it's going to take that to get out of here, to get out of the world, out of this mess.
Just to maybe finish on that, what about the I am that I am? Like I heard a lot of people say the name of God or the super intelligence is I am, and every time I say I am strong, I am awake, like just what I told you, I am awake. Is it wrong to say that? Because
it's fiction.
It's fiction. That's what I'm sensing, that it's a bit fiction
because you're relying on the scripts. You're relying on the scripts that were built up over years.
Yeah.
That tells you what the idea of strength is or what's strong.
Yeah.
But it comes from all the scripts. Because in paradise, in nature, there is no strong or weak that way. Everything does what it does to maintain the optimum of life so that magnificence is sustained as an eternal life.
Okay, what about repeating mantra with words? Like again, I'm bringing you words because that's what we speak.
That comes back to all the intentions, because words, it's only words that form the fiction of the self.
Yeah.
When we wake up, we don't have a self. Could you imagine being part of a magnificent forest with open lands and all that, and rivers and mountains, and you have never ever heard a word in your life?
Wow, it must be so beautiful.
You comprehend, you already are everything. You don't need words to tell you already what you are. You don't need to have to be navigated to something to be that. You already are all that, because your concentration as that child growing up was never broken. It's only fiction that will break the concentration, because it's fiction that makes us think that we're doing the right thing, that we have the right way for our child, that we have the right form of perception that they should have. So this plays out with strength and weakness and all the other things, because the truth is there is no first or last. There's no rich or poor. There's no left or right or up or down or fat or thin. They're all scripts.
Reality and fiction.
The snail will never ever be judged by the cougar or the jaguar. Nothing of nature judges anything. You don't get a dog come up to you and explain everything to you before it does what it does. Nothing of nature does that. When we wake up, We're silent. You know why? Because we haven't broken the peace anymore. The disturbances has been removed. The chaos and all the other things going on are no longer there in our present sense. It's only the interference by other people who impose the scripts on us that's made us become dysfunctional. It's made us become...
Yeah. Hence you put fear into me. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I said to you. That's why we come in and we try to infect somebody else.
Yeah.
And we do it to it, and we call it marriage.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we call it relationships. We are not meant to break the peace. So the best thing that Fiona and I are doing is we are creating a kingdom village where this has been respected, where the peace and calm is respected as the ultimate. We don't have to tell each other anymore what is strong and weak. We work with the good heart, because when you work with the good heart, it's not coming from the scripts. It just comes from that real love that you live, where you accept everything as it is. It doesn't mean that the baby's going to never grow up and be a man. Of course, it's already there happening. We just got to provide everything that allows that to happen naturally. You don't need certification. You don't need anyone else to validate you. When we wake up, we need nobody for anything. Then it just comes to co-creation, mutual sharing from the good heart, where we are custodians of the forest, we're custodians of the land, we're custodians of our brothers and sisters, we're wisdom keepers. It's just an attitude. It's a change in attitude, which is the one that was meant to be for all of us.
But again, the wisdom keeper are seen as very much like fiction in the world.
Well, it is. But the wisdom keeper is already the tree that looks after. Excuse me. The wisdom keeper of the tree lives for the full responsibility of what it lives for as its life, and so that it can provide the branches for the birds, provide the bark for the insect, provide the moisture to keep the moisture in the ground, allows the mycelium fungus to rot underneath the ground. That is a wisdom keeper.
I see exactly. I was going to tell you, I see the wisdom keeper maybe as a seed or a tree or, everything that has to do with creational science, that deep wisdom. But some kind of guru that says he's a wisdom keeper or something, like, I don't know.
Well, you only have to listen to see if it's coming from scripts and where their creativity has been directed. Yeah. If the creativity is directed for others to come to the man, you've got a problem on your handy. That's a cult.
That's it.
That's what they tried to do to Fiona and I. What they tried to do to me for a long time since I started all this Love for Life Insight work. They've tried to have me associated as being a cult. Yeah. I am not a cult. Anyone tries to follow me, I burn them off. I truly burn them off. But people want to co-create with the dream because they're inspired by the dream. Well, that's a different situation, because now we have a mutual wisdom keeping responsibility, because we come with that full responsibility. And that's what love is, full responsibility. We are meant to be living in the domain of the dream of life. And nothing else, let me finish. Nothing else should be in that domain. There should be no fiction inside the domain of our real life, which means our parents would have protected us from that. So we will never have our concentration broken by fiction, and then taught to focus on the fiction and to forget listening through the senses to the superintelligence coming from the wisdom keepers of the cockroach and the bird and the fly and other men and women who are mostly going to be reasonably silent. Well, we can sing and rejoice. I'm not trying to define it into some package here, but it's all in the intention. You just got to sense the intention. I don't want to live with people who want to follow me or have others follow somebody else. Just a mutual co-creation of life, and we all live that dream and love it, and we're fully responsible for it. No passing the buck. We don't play out any emotional shit with anyone about anything, which means goodbye righteousness, goodbye arrogance, ignorance, goodbye ridicule and abuse, goodbye condemnation, peer pressure, goodbye subjugation,
yeah,
loneliness, emptiness, despair. enmity, pity. Goodbye, all this crap.
And goodbye us, because I gotta go. So
catch up.
That's it. That's it
Thanks
for
for
tonight.
sharing.
We can come back again, Arthur, in a time. No issue there. But yeah, definitely be creative. Be creative as nature. I think that's a good starting point to move out
Cheers.
our depressed collectively. And yeah, cheers. And we will be forward again eventually. So much love. It's all love. All right. See ya. True, genuine love. I was gonna say something because now I saw your face, Arthur. I was like, yeah. No, it's all love. Genuine love. Like, yeah. Even though I'm still confused about this word at times, but my intentions are pure behind what I'm saying. So I'm
When you
good with it.
quieten down the chit chat in here, when you quieten down,
Yeah.
and you can start to really sense, you'll get all the answers to everything will come to you because you'll draw it to you. You'll attract it.
That's it.
And while you're listening to the chit chat, you keep drawing all the fiction, which are not going to be the answers to resolve the bigger picture of these issues.
Boom. Okay, we're out. See ya. Boom.